Hey guys, Ivan Harris Sr. here on this live here on Facebook. I wanted to get on here today to just talk and chat with you. I said I was going to be doing this from time to time. I haven't done as many lives here in this account, and I wanted to do this with you guys today. As it says on the subject heading here, grief, how to handle it. A positive perspective. Perspective is just another way of looking at things. And so many times people look at grief and are going through grief. And Les Brown says it all the time. You can't see the picture when you're in the frame. And sometimes you just don't really understand what you're doing because you're in it. And so today I just wanted to just come with a perspective here to just kind of share something that hopefully will be a blessing to you today, to encourage you and strengthen you. The one thing that I can tell you about grief is that it can be overwhelming. See, grief can be like a vacuum. It can suck you into a hole, okay? It can suck you into a hole and you can get stuck. It's easy to get lost in nostalgia and the way things used to be, and especially with the loss of a loved one, parent, mother, father, sister, brother, whomever, grandparent, it matters not. They're your loved one and you lost them. And this time of year especially, this is why I'm doing it now, this time of year especially, I see people just get dismantled by grief. And they do this every year because they say, oh, I miss my loved one so much. And, they just break down. And they spend their lives in a fetal position and just struggling and defeated and disgusted and sad, right? Well, what I wanted to do today was just kind of help you look at that from a different vantage point. As Jim Rohn used to say all the time, I miss Jim Rohn. I never had the pleasure of meeting him, but I was inspired by so many of his videos. And he always used to say, there's something to ponder, something to think about. I used to love to hear him say that. But yeah, something to think about in a different way. Like I said, a different perspective, a new way of looking at it as you look at grief. And so with grief, as I said, it can suck you into a hole and leave you there if you allow it to. But what I want to share with you is simply this. There is another way to look at it so that it does not dismantle you. Now, unless you think, well, Ivan, you're just talking and, it's easy for you to say, no, sir, no, ma'am. I see, I lost my mother in 2007, October 27, 2007 to be exact. And I was extremely close to my mother. Anybody that knows me knows I was very, very close to my mother. Then I lost my father on my birthday, March 13th, 2022. I had just finished preaching at the church, there at the church building, and came back home thinking I had everything planned, birthday and all, and I was going to enjoy it with Dad and things of that nature. And he was not feeling his best or what have you. Otherwise, he would have been in worship. But I came back to find him gone. And I'm going to tell you, that was hard. Just like with my mother, I was there when she took her last breath. Hard. So, lest you think I don't know what I'm talking about, yes. And let me tell you something. I did not know how I was going to deal with that because I was so close to them both. I didn't know how I was going to handle that. I had no idea. Okay? But the only thing I can tell you for sure is God is God. And he stepped in And he's the one that has held me. He held me then, and he's holding me now. That is how I survived, okay? And so 100% of that credit goes to him. But on top of that, I did some other things. I spent a lot of time with people like Earl Nightingale, but also Jim Rohn, as I mentioned to you. I remember Jim Rohn used to talk about the winters of life. Yeah, when things are hard and tough and like you lose loved ones. And that's really kind of what I want to focus on when I'm talking about grief today, is the loss of a loved one. That's what I want to focus on. But a lot of the times, guys, when we're dealing with grief, as I mentioned, and nostalgia and all and the way things used to be, a lot of times we're looking at it from our standpoint. We're just looking at it from the way we see it and how we're dealing with it, kind of selfishly looking at ourselves. What I want you to think about today is there's another way to see it. Now, with grief, the reason why we can't go back in the past and nostalgia and how things used to be and get locked in, you know why? Number one, we were made for change, guys. We were made for change, meaning we were not made to stay in one spot. We're made to grow. If you cut your fingernails, unless something's wrong, your fingernails will grow back. If you cut your hair, unless something's wrong again, your hair is going to grow back. If you cut the lawn, the grass is going to grow back, right? We see the changes of the seasons, right? We see the changes, winter, spring, summer, fall. All of these things are changing in this world. Hello, Ben. Thank you for watching. Thank you for joining. So we see the changes of life. God has made us for change, guys. So we can't get stuck where we were or are. We've got to keep changing. So that's one of the things that I want to advance to you is we're naturally made for change. And if you stop trying to change, that's when we get sick. That's when mental illness and other things come in, okay? Or depression goes horribly wrong and we get locked into it, okay? That's not where we want to be. So that's the first thing to understand. We were made for change. We're made to change, okay? Now, but here's the other concept that I want you to think about. If your loved one could come back from the grave, and they can't, but if they could, and they came back to see you and me, what would they say to you? Guys, you know how that would go. You remember how your mother was or your father was when they were on this planet, if they're no longer here. If you had a healthy relationship, and I do understand there are some that didn't, I get it. But most of us did. And if you were looking sad and depressed and beat up by life, they were always going to come throw their arms around you, unless you didn't have touchy-feely parents, but I did. But they come throw their arms around you, and they would say, what's wrong? And they would want you to feel what? Better. They'd want you to be happy, right? So if they were to come back from the grave, if they were, and they saw you sad and dejected, they wouldn't take out their finger and start shaking it at you. No, they would say, why are you sad, honey? What's wrong, right? They would want you to be happy. And that's what I want you to think about. I know you miss them and things of that nature, like I miss my parents, but you have got to take the encouragement and go on. See, if my father were here or my mother were here right now, I know what they would say to me. The same thing they said to me when they were alive. They said, Ivan, we're proud of you. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep helping people. Keep touching people's lives. Keep making a difference, right? And in your case, it's the same thing. See, that's another thing I want to share with you. A reason why you want to push through grief is, and it helps push you through grief, is recognizing why you're here. See, I know what I'm here for. I'm here to make a difference in people's lives like you. I'm here to give of myself, to pour into you, to pour love into you and help you see the value in yourself. And I'll come back to that. You're extremely valuable. But I want you to think about that, to come out of yourself and realize that your loved one would not want to see you suffer. Not one day, not 1 hour, not 1 second. They would want you to be happy. Don't let every time this year, whenever the holidays come or whatever, don't let it be a reminder of pain. Let it be a time of healing, of renewal, of joy, a time to share. And I have a concept for that too here in a moment. But I'm just saying, recognize they would want us to be happy, guys. Remember that. They want us to be happy. Not beat up and all down in the dumps and in the fetal position and just defeated. No. That's not what they wanted for you or for me, right? Something else too to think about. Something else to think about. As you're looking at your life, realize there's something that my mother said to me when she was living. I loved my mama. Lord knows I love my mother. My goodness. Pauline Harris, October 27, 2007, she left this life and left a big hole. But in all of that, she had things that she was so wise. She shared certain things. And she told me when she was living, she said, Ivan, if Dad, and at the time there everybody was living, she said, if Dad were to pass away before me, she said, here's what I would do. I would go to Southwestern Christian College. That's the college where they met. I went there too. She said, I would go back to that college and I would serve the younger ladies. I would just be there, pour myself into the younger ladies and make a difference in their lives. Man, that just hit me like a ton of bricks. Why? Because here's the deal. In grief, instead of turning inside of ourselves, we need to turn out of ourselves. Meaning, if you're feeling bad, don't get lost in the grief. Go bless somebody. How do you do that, Ivan? You go serve somebody else. Don't let this time of year be a time of pain. Let it be a time of pleasure. Sure, you can have your moment of grief and think about the person and wish they were here. Sure. But now, go find somebody else who's suffering and sad and go make their life better. And watch what happens for you. My God, it will make you feel so good to serve somebody else, to make their life better. I'm telling you, it's better than money. I've done it numerous times. In fact, every day of my life, whether it be online, offline, whatever it is, my goal is to make somebody's life better than it was before they met me. That's my goal. When I leave the house, I call myself the value creator. If I'm not creating value in people's lives, I don't need to call myself the value creator. But that's exactly what I do. God, people are my passion, guys. I love people. I love people. Okay? And that's why I do the things that I do, by God's power and strength. So that's what I want to say to you. Serve somebody. Instead of going into a pit of grief and despair and depression, go serve somebody. There's always somebody that's in worse shape than you or I. Go serve somebody. Guys, let me throw another perspective at you. You have all of your limbs. Now, some of you may not, but majority of us have all of our limbs. Hands, feet, legs, arms. I saw a gentleman who has no arms and no legs and was one of the most powerful people, positive people I've ever met in my life. I never met him personally, but saw him online. His name is Nick Vujicic. He's from Australia. Sit with this man for just a few minutes and you cannot help but feel the power of his positivity come through the screen. It's a force of nature. And when I saw that man, you know what I said? What problem do I have? What can I complain about? The man has no arms or legs. He can't reach out and hug his wife, beautiful wife, by that token. But I'm just saying, you and we can reach out and hug somebody. You understand what I'm saying? It's all perspective, guys, and looking at life differently. Some of you right now, you got parents with you. They're alive. And y'all are having some kind of feud. Can I share something with you as a little side note? When they're in the grave, you're not going to think about any of the problems that you have right now. You're just going to think about the fact that they are gone. And you are not going to see them again. Unless you're Christian, we'll see them again in glory, but that's another story. But my point to you is, life is too short, guys. Whatever the issue is, if they didn't do anything else right in your life, I've said this before and I say it again, if they didn't do anything else right, they had something to do with you being here. So they did that right. So let that stand. Build the bridge with whoever it is that you're having the problem with, because you don't know how long we have on this earth. Make it right with those people now. When you get off of here with me, or if you're looking at this in replay, call them. Make it right. Because tomorrow they might be gone. Make it right, guys. Make it right. So, as I continue on, I'm kind of coming towards a conclusion, I guess I could say. Listen to me, guys. Another reason that you want to not get stuck in grief and get locked down. Did you know somebody's looking at you right now? Somebody's watching you. Oh, please hear me right now. You are the inspiration for somebody. Somebody's looking at you for inspiration. Did you know that? Somebody's watching you. They're watching you. And they're getting strength from you. And if you quit, okay, then they're going to quit too. You can never, ever, ever make the decision to take your life. Why? Because God gave it to you. You can't take something that wasn't yours to give or take. So God gave you life. We can't give ourselves life. God gave it to us. We can't take it away. Somebody's watching you. You're inspiring somebody. That ought to be something enough right there to make you want to say, wow, somebody's watching me. I'm making a difference in somebody's life. That's a reason to hang out right there, isn't it? Of course. And let me say this as I'm coming to a conclusion. The reason why you don't want to get lost in grief and things of that nature is because you are a gift. Okay? You are a gift. You are a gift from God. God made you like you are. Okay? Man or woman, you or boy or girl, you are here for a reason. You need to find out what that reason is. But I'm just telling you, you are a gift. And you need to understand that. You need to unwrap yourself every day and share that gift of you with the world. Okay? Please understand how important you are. And because you are so important, that's why we can't get lost in grief and hold ourselves separate from the world. We've got to come through it and realize we are here to make an impact on the people that we see every day and around us and so on and so forth. Whether it be online or offline, you are a gift to somebody. Trust me when I tell you, you're a gift. So with that in mind, maybe you said, Ivan, I wasn't raised by parents who said they loved me, or I've never heard I love you. I don't even know what that's about, right? There are some people like that. Well, let me help you out today. If you've never heard it before in your life, I'm going to be the first one. I love you. Not for anything you've done or anything you said or none of that stuff, just because you are you. So I used to tell my boys, I love you just because you are you. Nothing else. You are enough to be loved. You're enough. Okay? So just understand that. And I want you to take that with you today. Don't get lost in grief. Push through the grief by understanding that my loved one wants to see me happy. They want to see me move forward. 2, I can't get lost back there in the past because I'm meant to change. God has made me to change. 3, somebody's watching me. I'm somebody else's strength. Somebody's depending on me to make it. I'm telling you they are. And then 4thly, serve somebody. Understand your purpose and why you're here. Go serve somebody. But even if you don't know your purpose, still just go serve somebody. Go do something to make somebody else smile. Whenever you're feeling the worst, go serve somebody and you'll feel the best that you've ever felt in your life. It works. So this is the positive perspective, a different way of looking at grief. Don't live in a tomb of grief where you're looking at yourself, thinking only about yourself. Turn that outward towards others, and start asking, how can I serve? How can I make a difference? How can I touch somebody's life today? And I'm telling you, every day will be an adventure. You'll be excited about waking up in the morning to be able to get up and go serve somebody. And I'm telling you, it's worth doing. It will make your life worth living. You will love it. You will love it. So, I think I've talked long enough. I hope you get the concept of what we're sharing with you today, and to look at grief and now be able to handle it in a positive way with these other concepts in your mind, that you can now look at it differently and begin to look at life differently and see life as it is, a gift. And you are a gift. You see that? So begin to live life with that new understanding, and every day will be an adventure. Every day that God blesses us to wake up and be alive will be an adventure. I don't know where that leaves you today. I hope that it leaves you encouraged. I hope it leaves you inspired to go and be a blessing to somebody. That's my goal every day. But I hope this has been a blessing for you. Let me know that. If you're listening, replay, or what have you, let me know if this was a blessing for you and if it meant something to you. Ben, I want to thank you, sir, for being here with me today. I don't think we've had the pleasure of meeting, but I tell you what, I'm so grateful for you being here and your presence. Definitely, I appreciate you so much. Thank you. And to the rest of you, those that are watching this and you're watching here to the end of this replay, I love you. I appreciate you. And I'm just glad that you're here. Remember, you are a blessing. You are a gift. There's nobody on this planet like you. Nobody. Don't take away the gift of yourself, because we'd all miss it. You're needed in this world. Never forget that. I love you. I appreciate you. Take care. I hope this will carry you through these holidays, not just this one, but for the ones to come. And watch this as a reminder to just remember, grief is not a destination. It is a passing point. It's a rest stop. Be there, rest for a minute, but keep moving. Take care now. God bless you. Thank you again, Ben. Bye-bye.